Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another action-packed day. Today, we do have a 4-commander guide. I know, you're like, Gabriel, you're supposed to do them one by one. No, let me tell you about this. These are actually only siege units. These commanders, they're only good for siege units. That's why I'm putting them and bundling up together. We're going to go together for each and every one. I will suggest some builds that are going to be decent for those who can be used a little bit more than siege. So let's dive into it. But first, if you like the content, always like and subscribe. And if you haven't played Lord of the Rings, just download the link below and come on in and play for Rise of War. So let's dive really deep and let's get into it. Boom!
You are a lesser son of greater science.
Go off right here. I just gotta set this. Boom! There you go. Walla bing, walla bam. You got the volume now. That's good. We're all doing good right now. All right, so let's dive into this and let's show you. There is a couple of things you do need for war when you do siege. One, if you're in a war ban, you're gonna have to let them know to activate their war declaration, which is their war horn, and you'll get about 24 hours of battle time to be able to do damage. If you do not do this, you will actually receive 70% reduction in damage in siege. You don't want to do it. Now, the 4 commanders we are speaking about is Gothmog, Gishnak, Urasa, sorry, I'm trying to pronounce her name, Urasa, or you call her Sarah, that's for short, and then Sharku. These 4 are actually evil faction siege unit types. You don't need to actually have gear on them. Their stats are pretty low as it is. The only one that you can really use in combat is Gothmog. If you like the other ones, you're more than happy to go ahead and, do the best you can to add some gears. They're not going to be the best commanders. They're not going to hold out as well, and you're going to end up losing a lot because they are just mostly meant for siege. And when I say siege, you're going to go into their skills, and they're all going to have this special one. He has Gond, which is he's going to get plus 28 damage for every time he does siege per set of units. So that's right there is really amazing. Of course, he comes with orcs dealing more damage. And then you got right here, same here. They're going to have Logic. She's going to be able to boost up more siege. Now, she's not going to do as much damage as Gothmog. Gothmog is the best sieger in the game. Now, some people do use Gothmog as a regular commander, as a defense tank build. We'll go a little bit more into that in a bit. But really, you want to use her as more of a siege. Same thing as Gurnak. He does the same thing. He has the same ability. And also Sharku also has the same ability as well. They don't do a lot of damage. I recommend keeping them under level 20. 20 and under is very good, especially the amount of siege damage they do. You don't really have to worry about that. Now, when of course you're doing siege, what kind of units that you want to do, a lot of people will do alchemists. Alchemists are a great form of siege damage. They do 30 damage, so you can only imagine how much they'll do when you boost up. The problem with alchemists, they are slow. So when you need to start clearing stuff, it gets a little bit challenging because they don't step up well when they're marching, especially since evil has such a kind of like a debuff when it comes to marching speed, and it's important to take out forts as well as land quickly that requires siege damage because you don't want your enemies to catch up. So I do highly recommend people who don't have a lot of resources. If you're struggling, do not worry. Do tier 1s. I did this in a previous video. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you going back and you watching it. They will really help you out with learning how to properly use tier 1 troops to boost up your siege damage and be able to produce them quick, fast, and aggressively. Now, my favorite unit to use for siege is, of course, raiders. Raiders, they don't do a lot of siege damage. They do a pretty decent amount of siege damage, but of course, if you're getting units that boost siege damage, like Gothmog, which is plus 28, plus the 17, you're doing a whopping 40. Yeah, you're gonna do a whopping 43 damage on that, and 45 damage on that, and you're gonna be per set of units, and you're gonna be very well. You can also do scouts as well, and the reason why I like using this unit itself is because they're fast, super fast. Now you can also go ahead and do dragoons. Dragoons do majorly amount of damage. They do more damage than the raiders, but unfortunately for most of the siege units, they actually boost more orcs than they do boost evil men. That's why I always recommend doing raiders, because when you do get commanders like Gothmog here, he has boosts of orcs, more orc speed, damage, focus damage, and then you got army's defense anyways. But just look at that boost. It is ridiculously good. It is something to always want to be comparable, especially when Gothmog needs to be able to get everything as far as defense goes, because he's one of the best siege units in the game for evil. Not only you can use him as a defense support unit, but you can also use it as a pure siege damage, and tons of siege damage at that. He's just amazing with that. Again, same here. You're gonna get right here more benefits for enemy stuns, and then onwards for reducing damage, so you can apply dragoons. But the marching speed here is always going to be better, and of course it's just going to be more effective. Same here, you can use dragoons with her. She will actually benefit from using evil men, because you can actually boost their stats, but again, she also boosts up orcs as well with her damage reduction, but evil men will be able to help her. She can do some fairly decent damage if you build her. If you wanted to use her as a regular commander and you don't want to use it as a siege, I highly recommend doing your interrogator to get the stun for the madness, because you can inflict bleed as well as stun, and then you're going to go into your experienced warriors, get that done. This is not really needed on the Easterling. It's only a damage focus reduction, which is not really important, but definitely this right here, experienced warrior and interrogator, is going to be great. So what you're going to do is you will equip her with a gear that actually gives the target madness. Works perfectly, good combination. But Sharku, he's actually a pure wog, so that's why you want to use the scouts or even the raiders, because he will be able to boost their HP reduction, HP recovery, and defense, as well as they're going to increase the damage and make him immune to madness. He's a focus damage dealer. He's not really the best. I wouldn't really use him for that, because he is contradicting until they release something that makes him better. Really, those are the 4 units that you want: is a Gothmog, Urasa, or is it Asra, and then Sharkru, and then Gishnek, or Gishnek. Sorry, these names are a little bit different than I'm used to. So these are the 4 siege commanders that I would recommend. You don't need to put any gear on them at all. Not even a Gothmog. I only put him here because he was helping me take out land. That was level 150 and 130. which he can do if he had some equipment. So that's why I have that on him, because his stats are not the best. And you're going to notice that with all these, their stats are very poor, but they do have an amazing siege damage. That's why I recommend using these 4 units, and only these 4 units. You don't really need that many. If you want to do a backup, then you just throw in a random one. You could put whatever units on them, raiders or stuff, and as long as you get that quick. So those are really the siege units that I recommend. Now, when you're ready for war, what you're gonna do is this. So that way you're preparing a land. Like all this land here, we're gonna target, and I'm gonna show you guys how to siege against it. So what you want to do is preparing your siege units. You're gonna actually get them in a land here. When you march them, do not march close to a land anywhere close. So you wouldn't go here, you wouldn't go here, you wouldn't go here. Reason is because that will alert the enemy, and that enemy right there will be able to send their units to that area. So what you want to do is make sure you're about good 6 to 7 squares. That's not bad, the marching speed, especially when you have raiders. You can hit them super hard and super quick. We're going to show you that right now. And what's great is make sure you're going into an area that is surrounded by your own squares or by your fellow faction members, because what's going to happen is you're going to be able to march there with a big army like I did here with 14 units and be undetected. And that's exactly what you want to do. So this is here. We're prepared to do siege. I'm going to go ahead and destroy this building. I have siege bonus. I'm going to go ahead and now we're going to launch our siege attack. There's nobody in here. The guy is unprepared. So we're going to go ahead, siege. I'm going to siege. Siege. I wish there was like multi-march, to be honest with you. Siege. And then we're gonna siege here. I'm gonna go to this land. We're gonna go ahead. This land here is 200. We're gonna go ahead and launch our shadow. Go ahead here. We're gonna launch Sauron here, because Sauron's more slower. We're gonna go here. Oh, we can't yet because there's no connected land. That's fine. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna connect the land here by going right here, assaulting here, and then this land here, I'm gonna go ahead, throw this guy here. I'm gonna go ahead and throw, because this here is 130. So, and you have trolls. So Witch King is very slow. He has trolls, yeah. So he has trolls, so we got to just be patient with that. We should be able to eliminate that real quick. And then once that's up to half, I'll send the other ones in. So we're going ahead, hitting that. Boom, it's already at 40. Boom, again. We're hitting that for the other ones and the other two, and then we'll finalize and end that fort right there. Boom. That's another damage here. 31. Go ahead. Once that hits this land here, I'll send that, because you want to be able to time it. You want to be able to have consistency. This is the only one that we're going to have to worry a little bit about, but that's fine, along we're not going too crazy, and we have a season cutoff point. So I want to make sure I get this point through. So this guy right here is going to be able to go down. We're sending 2 big units out there. And I believe these guys are going to get into positions. Boom. Okay, he's almost there. Because you gotta do half the time. Okay. Okay. Alright, let's start sending these guys out. Boom. There you go. Boom, sending him. Sending him. And then we will, then that will finish that off right there. Because these are doing both 80 that. Oh. He's going to go ahead and draw. So, it's especially when you're trying to siege, you want to make sure you close the surrounding lands. If there's a river, do not worry about that. They cannot cross the river. You want to take out those forts because you want to make sure they're unable to reinforce in those forts right there. Now, what's the left on here? Boom. Occupy land. Good. Now we move on to here. This is going to be an easier one. Boom. Take it right there. Be able to hit. Move into position. Because we're going to move these guys over here once we capture that land. And then we're going to siege that land last. Boom. Got that done. Now we're going to go over here. We're going to have Sauron eliminate the forces here. And then I'm going to go ahead and actually start marching. I got a minute. Yeah, I'm going to start ahead and marching these guys. Wait right there. And then go right here. She should, yeah, she hits after. Okay, you don't want to hit, when you're doing those sieges, you don't want to hit with units that are under level for those main lands. It just won't work out. Alright, so now we're going to actually have him clear up this. He should be able to be just fine. Witch King should be able to have taken that guys out. Boom. Yeah. So they're going to be doing fine here too as well. You got him. He's going to go ahead and hit him. Boom. He should. Yep, he hits the second guy. The Odin, and then boom. Okay, so this is going to be cleared up here. Boom. Boom. Got that done. Now we're going to go ahead and siege this thing right here. Looks like everybody is already packed, so that's good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to send Sauron, who is just finished that up. We got to make sure everything loads. Taking that minute. Be able to go over here. I'm going to go ahead and smack this land real quick. Using that. Boom. Real quick there. Alright, good. And might as well send Sauron just in case if there's a draw. 3, 4, 5, 6, 2. Boom. Draw right there. And now we're going to send her out back over here. Looks like these units are coming still back. And I believe we got this one shut down already now. But we'll see. And then we're going to send a quick unit. Boom. Take that out. And send her just in case. I believe we took this one, maybe. Yes. Okay, we got that. This land is taken care of. And there you go. Boom. We just took care of all that land right there, so there's no problem whatsoever. And that's how you siege. I hope you guys highly appreciate that. We won this whole corner without any resistance, so usually that's what you want to do if you're focusing on siege. Look at pockets. Don't go in the front line. Build a pocket. Start closing out, because what's important for a siege unit, especially a player who's doing siege support, is you're clearing tiles. You're getting as much commanders as possible to clean tiles, clean forts out, make sure you're breaking those things down, and that way your enemy cannot be able to go into the location without that, because we just destroyed their only forts in their area. So they are unable to actually get into this corner because there's just no forts there available to them. So that's one of the things what you want to do as a support unit player is you want to focus on clearing tiles. These 4 units are really great. The 2 common ones, Yursra and Sharku. Those are really easy to get. You can easily get it. Gothmal was free for us on season 2, but I got them way before then. But they're not as hard to get. The game pretty much tries to give you them because they're not the best units, but they are great for siege and they are great for support. So you can definitely be able to clear a massive amount of lands, high level in an instant. In an instant, and that way you'll be able to complete. So I hope you guys really appreciate this video. I'm gonna continue to wipe more of these lands before the timer runs out, and just be able to laugh and give a good giggle. Thank you all for watching. This is Gabriel Phoenix signing off, and hope you all enjoy. Peace.